So 2.5 weeks from hell. I mean, that's exactly what the past 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks have been for me. I, there was a time in 2015 where I went through something rough. In 2016 was pretty rough for me too. But this is the first time in a long time where I've had even a small stretch of time where I've just had bad luck. It's just bad luck, misfortune, whatever you want to call it. Um, and I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I'm speechless. So like 2.5 weeks ago, I had a panic attack. Well, I guess you could argue I had two of them in the same weekend. So I went to the ER twice in one weekend, once on Saturday and once on Sunday. Um, and it wasn't like, oh, I was just overreacting. Maybe I shouldn't have gone there. I mean, from what I was experiencing, getting real dizzy and lightheaded, my legs and arms going numb, my heart rate just skyrocket, and my breathing, having trouble breathing. I mean, you factor in all those things all together, and like, who wouldn't bring themselves to the emergency room? Like, I felt like I was gonna pass out or faint, and that's not normal. That's not like, it was obvious that something was wrong. And after doing a bunch of research, it sounds like a lot of people who have panic attacks go to the emergency room thinking they're having a heart attack or something, and it's no wonder why. I mean, the experience is horrifying. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. I mean, I literally thought I was going to go unconscious. I thought I was going to go out cold. I thought it was only a matter of time, and then, that's scary enough. Then you go to the emergency room and maybe compared to the other stuff they were dealing with, they treat you like you're not a priority. I understand they have a lot of shit going on with COVID and whatnot, but they don't, it doesn't seem like they take you as seriously as they should. So then that just adds to it all. Then you get agitated and frustrated, and then it makes everything worse. It just everything just gets worse. It just makes the whole situation worse when you feel like they're not taking you seriously. And that's exactly how I felt when I went in there. I was like, man, you guys, like, I'm sure you guys are busy, but you guys are not. Like, I feel like I was in like a life and death situation. It might not have been, but it felt like it at the time. And so you want to see them treat you that way and take it as such. And I just felt like I didn't get that. But again, we're in crazy times. I'm sure they had some stuff that was a lot more serious than a panic attack on their hands. But at the time, I didn't know it was just a panic attack. At the time, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I know I was hooked up to machines, and my heart rate at rest was going from 110 to over 140, like that, 2 or 3 different times. And each time your heart rate hits 140, an alarm goes off. And then so like that makes it even worse. Then you start freaking out more. Before you know it, you're like, oh my God, I can't breathe. What the hell's going, why is my heart rate bouncing around like this? Something's wrong. And they're still, like, at this point, they had me in a hallway in the back. So I wasn't even in a room yet. And they were kind of like periodically checking on me. Um, and it was just, I can arguably say it was the scariest moment I've ever had. Scariest moment I've ever had on Saturday. Sunday wasn't quite as bad, but it was still a lot of numbness in the arms and the legs, and a lot of breathing issues. And it just, if you bring yourself to the emergency room, you obviously believe you need to be there. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gone there. Um, and so that was 2.5 weeks ago. And then the week and a half that followed that weekend was absolute hell. The first 2 days, it was vertigo. The room was spinning all the time. My head felt heavier than hell. That was from like the after effects of the lorazepam they gave me in the emergency room. So the first few days, I was just trying to get out of that that fog that I was in um, after they gave me that lorazepam. Then after that, I started noticing all the breathing issues. I was just so tense, um, a bunch of muscle tension, my chest, my shoulders, my neck. I'd wake up, my back would just be screaming because everything was just so tense. My body was so stressed out, and the anxiety was so high. After that, it was almost like my body was still convinced it was in a state of danger. And so I was just like anxious as hell for a week and a half, and I couldn't do anything. I mean, if I left the house, my body would know it, and it would just start freaking out. And after a little while, you start to feel sorry for yourself. You know, you're like, okay, you know what? Now I feel like I've been robbed of life. Um, and then at that point, my employer wanted me back after a week. I couldn't. I just wasn't ready. Little did I know at the time I would be ready 3 days later, but I didn't know that at the time. So I had to voluntarily resign. So then, you know, on top of everything else that you're going through, now you got to accept that you're unemployed, and it's like, oh, you know. And then and just last night, I got a flat tire on my way home. So that's the past 2.5 weeks for me. I mean, just an absolute shit show all around. And I don't know. I guess the only positive thing I can say is it can only go up from here.